Right, hello, and welcome back. Today's the 1st of August, and as it's been several months since I last gave you a plot tour, I thought I'd bring you back and give you a full tour of both plots. Apologies, it is a little bit windy, so if the audio is a little bit muffled, you'll know why. Yeah, so that's some IBCs. I still haven't finished the plan and project I had for that. Again, I suspect that's probably going to be a winter project now, but well, you know, no rush for it. My compost pit pile, my wood chip pile that got slightly buried with an over-enthusiastic compost delivery driver. Buckets, looks like buckets of grass, but actually these are asparagus corms, spare ones. They've just sort of gone in buckets as a placeholder for the time being. My most significant failure of the year. I always have something, but this one's pretty bad. These were my cauliflowers, not the Romanescos, traditional all year round collies. Not a single one has hearted. I'm quite disappointed. I'm in two minds. I've got to decide what I want to put in, ready for next year now. So I need to decide what I'm going to do with that bed. It might be that 6 weeks or so from now, if the overwintering onions turn up, I might just rip that out and replace that with the onions. I prefer to rotate anyway, so because this bed is basically a mini monoculture, so it's not like a Charles Dowding bed where you've got 6 or 7 different types of things in it. So I do practice a small amount of rotation. Autumn potatoes or Christmas spuds, these will be lifted long before Christmas. These will be out probably second week of October if they're not done by then beforehand. Came up like a rocket. They are second early Charlottes. These were planted at the same time. These 2 rows were planted about 10 days later, so you can see the difference 10 days makes in this bed. And got a third one over here, planted at around about the same time as these front 2 rows. These are what's left of the brassicas. I haven't really bothered to take them out, so you can see I've got one collie there again that's not hearted. That's my lettuce that's all bolted and gone to seed. Again, I don't really have anything urgent to put in this bed, so I'm just I've let it be for the time being. At some stage I will probably, as I said, when I get the winter onions, I'll take these out and clear them all up. Same for this bed here, same thing. And same for this one here. This one's slightly different in that this one's full of grass and other nasties. It's been very much abandoned. But that gives me 4 beds to potentially plant in once I've cleared them down. Over this side, I've still got some spring onions in. Taking the beets out now. I've got a couple of spare. Not celery. What's it called? Celeriac. That's it. In there. Need to take some of these weeds out. Took the beets up 3 or 4 days ago, and you see I've started with the leeks. Got some of the leeks in there. Got some over here. Still looking a bit sorry for themselves. It'll take a little while they've come up right. They'll take a while to really establish. My French bean beds full of weeds. That's crept over from the strawberry beds and the raspberry bed that you can see here. It's just absolute disaster. Once it dies down, I'm going to lift everything in all of these beds, sieve all the soil, cardboard the bottom, reset them effectively, because it's just been a nightmare trying to control the weeds. Having said that, I've got some quite good crops out of these. These are red swan, produce a sort of a pinky kind of pod. Fairly prolific actually. I've got several kilos off of this bed, despite the slugs having a field day because of the weeds. Yeah, it's been okay. I mean, even on these beds that I've abandoned, I mean, look at that. I've got raw broccoli there. I'll cut those later and take them away. Raspberries, starting to come into fruit now. Not going to be anything like as productive as last year. Probably because of all the grass, you know. Again, oh, that's lovely. Yeah, probably because of all the grass. Again, that's coming up, being redeveloped. I'm going to split the canes when I lift them, because I think this bed probably isn't deep enough for my liking for raspberries. So I'll probably put it one more set of boards higher. I'll redo the base again. Same as a lot of things. I mean, look at this. This is my main asparagus bed. Next year would be the first year that I'd probably take a harvest off them, but in order to do that, as soon as they go dormant in October, everything's coming up. I am pulling, as you can see, this bed is coated. That bed, I'm lifting this every week, and every week it goes back to this, and I'm beyond, almost to the point of ceasing to care. But that's the reality of it. You know, I've got a very large site. This part of my plot has ceased to be productive for the year for me, so I'm not focusing any energy on it. Same as the strawberries, that's ceased to be productive. The beans I'm a bit disappointed about, but you know, it's fine. Tomatoes are really starting to come on. I'm going to have to tie these up again and de-side shoot them. I'm doing that probably every 10 days at the moment, so a little longer than I should really be doing it, but you know, it's time, because I've got a huge quantity of outdoor tomatoes this year. It does take 2 to 3 hours to go through all of them and tie them all up and do it all properly. So that's what my plan is for today. So I'll be doing those later. This is the last of the brassica beds that are now finished, and I've taken the top off this specifically on the basis that I wanted the pollinators to have access to the flowers. I'll probably do the same for the other beds further down the plot, just to help out things a bit. Another bed of leeks. As you can see, I've got huge amounts of interference from the bloody bindweed again. I'll be weeding that. And 3 onion beds. This one was decimated by bindweed. It got choked out, so the crop on it is dreadful. This one's it was okay. It's better than the other beds, and they're pretty much at the point of harvest now, so these will be lifted. I'm probably going to do a scorched earth campaign here, in that I will, once these are out, I'll take my my blowtorch, my little ground weeder. I'm going to burn everything on all of the paths, because the paths are becoming infested as well now. So yeah, these will be coming out probably in the next week, 10 days. And a third one up here is just starting to go over, so that's going to be fairly similar as well. So these beds will be cleared and empty within the next few weeks. I'm going away for a couple of weeks on holiday, so it might be when I get back that I end up clearing them properly, but yeah, it's not doing too bad. Behind me, I've got another tomato bed, again interplanted with celeriac. We do love celeriac, so you know, we grow a lot of it, and it's starting to get there. This was fairly late planted. I've got some much more established stuff further down the run here, but my outdoor tomatoes are starting to fruit, you know, which is great, because when everything got destroyed by the frost, I really was concerned I wouldn't get a harvest out of this, out of anything I replanted, because I resowed from seed, from scratch. You'll see there's a little line of onions down there, just nesting amongst things, and again they're almost ready. So yeah, this will be a fairly productive bed once I've tamed the tomatoes, which will be a fairly lengthy endeavour. This bed's my courgettes. I am sick to death of courgettes. I must have taken 100 courgettes out of this bed so far, and it's like I've not even touched it. 2 days ago, and I've got that, you know. I'll probably take 1, 2, 3, 5, six courgettes out of this bed. This is a 6 foot by 6 foot bed, and that plant is dead. I accidentally knocked the crown out of it in 2 days. So yeah, it's productive, but too much so in my opinion. Over this side we've got a bit of a mishmash. So we've got some celery, along with a couple of celeriac dotted around, just because I had spares. We've got a single Balkan Chard in the middle, and these are, well, they're outdoor cucumbers, but actually I grow them as gherkins. They're an Italian type. And not only do they go absolutely nuts, they're incredibly productive. You know, you've got fruit absolutely everywhere, and I use these for making dill pickles. And I'll get probably 30 jars of dill pickles out of these couple, and the one I've got in the oh no, 2 I've got in the polytunnel, which are actually doing far worse than these ones, so it's ironic. And we come over to the pumpkin bed, the pumpkin patch, although it has got a few cucumbers, again, spare cucumbers chucked in amongst it, but we've got fruits starting to form now. So Joe, it is on. I've got at least a couple, there's a couple more around the corner I'll show you in a minute, and again, tomatoes with fruits on. This side, a little bit disappointed. I'm going to have to re-sow some of this bed, I think. These are another French bean, purple one. I thought it was Purple Queen, but I don't think it is. I can't remember. I can't remember the type. Anyway, I've still got spare seeds, so I'm going to re-sow a whole bunch of seeds, because these just haven't really taken very well. So these were transplants, by the way. So I'll reseed those. The plum tree, Victoria plum. I've taken 30 plus kilos off of that tree already, and it barely looks like I've made a dent. So yeah, parsnips are still doing well after the thinning. They've really started to fill out a bit. The carrots, well, I'm going to lift the vast majority of this bed today. Anything that's ready will come up, and I'll re-sow that bed. If I've got time and inclination, I might fill this bit up and reseed that as well, ready for the autumn. Then you've got that pumpkin vine that came from that bed over there, all the way through here. That's the first of the reasonable sized fruits, and then this one over here, and that larger fruit is 10 days old. So we'll see how big it actually gets. Got some spare brassicas and things to go in at some stage. Rhubarb, some of them are doing fantastically, some of them not so much. This one here, this one, if you remember in one of my older videos, was a tiny little cutting that I didn't think could survive, smallest of the lot, and it was nicknamed Rhubarb after my youngest daughter, whose name is Freya, and we call her Fru. So yeah, rhubarb seems to be quite productive. Again, incredibly weedy. I'm really not paying too much attention, because I won't be harvesting from this bed this year. These were splits that I transferred last year. I mean, I could probably get away with doing a big pick from here and bringing it down, but frankly I've got plenty of rhubarb. I've got something like 30 jars put up still, so there's no need for me to do it. So I'm not gonna stress the plant when it's so weedy, and because I have no choice, because I have a choice in the matter. So I'll leave that until next year. The plan for next year is really to be much harsher, much more vigilant with the weeds. You know, I'm almost at the point where most of the structural stuff is finished on the plot now, so it will allow me to focus on sort of keeping it up to date. So rather than spending all of my time doing new big projects, I'm spending more of my time doing maintenance stuff. So I want to do a deep litter mulch on this. I want to make sure that all of the blackberries I dig out as soon as I see them, and the same is true in the fruit cage. I want to finish putting the fruit cage on. I've got to do some work on the stone fruits. They're too upright, so they're going far too much up and not enough in the sort of chalice shape, so I'll do some work to that. And I also need to completely get a handle on this base again. Somewhere in there are the gooseberries. Again, they fruited, so I'm not too worried this year, but I will need to dig those out. And the same for the blueberries, they haven't fruited this year because they're brand new, but I'll need to dig those out and sort those out, along with all the brambles that are growing up through the side. Really got to get a handle on that. Winter project will be the last 2 beds. The one here will be strawberries. From when I dig that out, I'm going to transplant a huge quantity of strawberries, and then one other raised bed here. Before I go today, I'm going to get a top on this because the pigeons have found my brassicas. This is not caterpillars, this is pigeon damage. So I need to get a top on that. If you'd seen one of my earlier videos where I've shown how to put together brassica cages, these are exactly the same plants as in that one, the one next to it, put in at exactly the same time, but without the pigeon damage. You know, it's incredibly weedy, so again I have to get in there and weed that when I get 5 minutes. But I've started to get some real traction on it, and this was the one that was done about 4 weeks before that. I need to redo the blue piping on the end to hold it upright, but you know, some of these are huge. We've got one kale there I think that's blown. That's a cabbage that in the not too distant future will be ready to go. This one here was going to be the pumpkin bed. I've changed my mind because, not pumpkin bed, the outdoor watermelon bed. The type I selected was an American type, and it just took so long to get going. You know, they were tiny, and I was looking at it thinking these need a long season because they're American types. Yeah, it's not going to happen. So I've replanted them with some onions for a friend of mine. This side's will be beetroot fairly shortly. Again, I just need to weed that. You'll notice I've got huge amounts of bindweed everywhere. Partly it blows in from externally, and partly I get it from a single source of municipal waste compost, and I am concerned about how they have treated their compost piles this year, because it seems that I've got infestations in beds where there should be no possibility of infestation. Like, this is a sealed bed, so this weed-proof membrane is continuous underneath it, 2 layers thick. Should not be possible for this to have this level of infestation in this shorter time. So sweet corn doing phenomenally well. It's taller than I am. That's 6.5 feet in parts. Butternut squash that are planted are going everywhere inside it. I haven't seen any fruits, but then again, really, I haven't really been paying much attention. But you can see ears are starting to develop nicely now. You know, again, the whole block planting for these is really quite critical. If in doubt and you want to hand fertilise, best to done first thing in the morning. Rub your hand, find some silks, stroke the silks with the pollen to help pollinate. Then we come down to the slightly wonky, if you can see that, bean arch. Yeah, we've had some real windy weather, and it's taken a bit of a battering on the bean arch. I do have some plans to reinforce that, but it won't be today. It's not so much that it's going to fall down, it's more that it's just been pushed sideways, so it's still pretty sturdy. It's just the foliage acting like a sail more than anything else. So I've got some plans to bring that upright again. As you can see, tomatoes in the middle, you'll see some celeriac behind it, you know, celeriac everywhere. Again, this needs a huge prune, which I'll be doing momentarily, and a tying up. These are my white lady runners. I don't eat runners fresh. Not these ones. These ones are specifically there to produce seeds for storage over winter for me. And a bit like the other side is borlottis, and exactly the same principle. Got the last of my beetroot is down here, quite small ones. I've taken the big ones already. But again, another bed of tomatoes, and the borlottis are climbing well, albeit not flowering at the moment. Oh, just starting to flower there, if you can see, but that's fine. Again, they're dried beans. You can see the borlotties have made it right the way to the top, so you know that's going to be dripping in beans later in the year. Yeah, the massive potato bed. You know, when it's empty, you see the scale of it. It is a huge potato bed. This is probably going to become spinach. Probably first week of September I'll sow this with spinach and possibly some leeks. This is the first bed that I replanted with spuds. I only did 2 rows of spuds, one on either side, so you know you've got quite a big space in between. But you can see they're starting to come up now, so that's not too bad. The pot potatoes that I did in one of my previous videos, you saw those. They're all up and well. So yeah, my autumn harvest for potatoes is going to significantly exceed the spring one. And the spring one was pretty good at 125 pounds. Now, welcome to the jungle, so said Aerosmith. Melons on this side, we've got the sungolds. That sungolds all the way down. Cherry tomatoes, we are taking kilos and kilos and kilos every week off of them. Got the melons underneath it. Melons haven't done too badly. They're starting to die off in places and go on in others. So you know, we've already had a couple. So yeah, they're doing okay. This is a spring onion, white Lisbon, that I deliberately left to go to seed. I'm going to paper bag that fairly shortly, and that will be my home seed for next year. Yeah, we go down. It does seem to have something of a tendency to be fruiting more up this end. I don't know if it's just because it catches more sun down there or what, but yeah, we've got to the stage now where I'm starting to really take fruit off. As I take the fruit off, I will defoliate all the way up these stems, more than anything just to keep moisture levels down. Some more. I've got various different types of melons in here. So I've got Galias and I've got some cantaloupes. So yeah, it's a fairly productive little space on this side, albeit this one seems to have run out of puff. So it's got lots of little fruits. But hey, it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I literally 2 days ago I picked 1.5 kilos of cherry tomatoes off of here, and we've already got more ripening. So we're at the stage of the year now where actually, because I topped them at 7 stanzas. In this case, it's about eight sets of fruit. But actually, at this point, I stop pinching out the tops again. So if they go a bit mad and they produce some more fruit, well, that's great, because I've got the quantity of fruit I expected to get from those plants, and anything over that is a bonus. Over on this side are my grapevine, obviously, cucumbers along the back, and peppers, lots and lots of peppers. I've had some real issues with bug infestation this year. You can see this because I leave the drawer open all the time. This is a combination of caterpillars and slugs, and they have absolutely had a field day, but I'm not too fussed because there are tons and tons of fruit on these plants, more than enough to share, and the plants are still going good guns, and that is true all the way down the polytunnel. Sorry, dropped you there. But yeah, I mean, you've got everything from sweet peppers up this side and in the middle to I think these are habaneros, to these guys, bird's eyes, and you can see how many chilies are on that one. Enough to make you sweat for a month. I've got some, I think, some Fricatellos in there somewhere. I've got these yellow monsters all through here, you know. Loads and loads of sweet peppers. Just traditional bells, you know. They're all quite awesome, frankly, this year in terms of the productivity. Cucumbers pretty much everywhere. I generally don't buy the big long ones because when I'm growing them, just because that's not how we eat them, you know. That's a snack size one. That's cucumber and cheese sandwiches for the kids, you know. So that one's probably got a little longer. These are a snack size variety in any event. So yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It's very productive. We're certainly not having to go short of cucumbers. I think I took 3 off the other day, and we've got another load here. And then in this corner we've got a couple of gherkin ones. I don't know whether we've got any on there at the minute. There we go. That's a pickle one there. That'll be fine. But yeah, it's quite productive in here at the moment. So one of those sort of times a year where everything starts to really kick into high gear. This is an interesting one. I'm sure this is the Fricatellos down here. They sort of a green. They'll get two times that size, maybe even a bit more. Yeah. It's a more developed one for you. Even then, that's quite small. It'll get 50% bigger than that. But they're a sweet pepper. Great for roasting. Absolutely fantastic for roasting. But yeah, again, highly productive. This year is going to be a fantastic year for peppers in here. So yeah, that's where we are. Some successes, some failures, but huge amounts of productivity. I'm thinking probably in a couple of weeks when I get back from holiday, so sort of September time, I'll start to show you around my pantry in terms of what I've done in terms of preserving all of this food, this surplus, and the ways that I've done that. Right, I hope you enjoyed the tour, warts and all, and I'll see you later.